Hey everyone, I'm back. All right, let's get into some NBA. Specifically, let's get into the Los Angeles Lakers situation. The Los Angeles Lakers unfortunately aren't going to make the playoffs this season. That is very interesting, especially since the Lakers in the offseason before this regular season, they got LeBron James, they had players, there was improvement. Everyone thought this is great. We're going to make the playoffs at the very least an eighth seed in the playoffs, possibly higher. We'll get a really good chance to maybe second round if we're very, very lucky, you know, maybe past that. So we'll see. That's what the thought was. But that did not go that way. LeBron James, towards the earliest, not the early part, but say a second half, earliest part of the season, he got injured. He was out for 18 games. The Lakers survived, sort of playing 500 game, then came back, and then he's still getting to the groove of things. And then the Anthony Davis trade situation happened, where Anthony Davis talked about he doesn't want to be a Pelican anymore and wants to be traded. And one of the things was the Lakers seemed like the number one favorites to try to get them, because Boston can't do that until the offseason due to the fact that they have Kyrie Irving, and that's an issue because they have there's a rule that you can't like go after too many players in the same year, and they're both going to be free agents. So it was just one of those things that Boston couldn't do. So the Lakers really could go after it, but didn't work out that way, especially since it looked like this was the Lakers or at least LeBron James' idea from the beginning, sort of, because Anthony Davis' agent was Rich Paul, which is LeBron James' best friend. And so it just made it more seem like the Lakers are positioned to try to get Anthony Davis in a kind of, you know, not a great way, was not a great, you know, optic. And then of course it appears that somehow it got leaked what the trade proposals the Lakers were offering to get Anthony Davis, and was basically a lot of young guys. And so the young guys, I'm sure, saw that and probably felt a certain way, which I get. And it just kind of derailed. And then LeBron James wasn't exactly himself. They were losing too many games. Other teams in there, not just the division, but on the West Coast, and you know all that stuff. Obviously the East is a different division than the Western division, and they just kept losing, and it was a problem. And it also looks like probably in this off season they're gonna have a new head coach. Luke Walton won't be there. For me, that's unfortunate, because I think Luke Walton has a really good chance of being a really good head coach. He showed promise when he took over the Golden State interimly for Steve Kerr, who was injured. And yes, he had phenomenal players, and anyone could have probably been there, but still, he was ahead of it. He had those wins, and he was there as an assistant and was doing good. So, and he got that Lakers job. Remember, also Luke Walton was a former Laker, and even was on a team that won a championship. And he knew he had teammates like Kobe Bryant and Paul Gasol. So he's played with those big kind of guys. He knows what it, how it would, how would coaches coach him. Especially, he learned a lot from Phil Jackson. Say what you want about Phil Jackson, the GM. That was horrible. That guy as a GM shouldn't obviously be a GM. But as a head coach, that guy, to learn from him and be a mentor of his in some way, I think if that's the case, he's taking the time. You probably got to think that Luke Walton knows something with basketball, and especially who his father is. Someone to respect the kind of basketball guy in the NBA. So I just think it's unfortunate he's probably not going to be here anymore after this off season, because it just looks bad. You're not getting wins. LeBron James is a guy. You didn't make it. LeBron James is probably his first time in who knows how many years to not at least make the playoffs. His streak of consecutive finals will end. It's just unfortunate, but it's the way things have gone. It really has. So that's unfortunate. What's going to happen rest with the Lakers? I don't know. I mean, probably what they're going to do is, obviously, for the rest of the season, just like they've been doing, reevaluate the players. Who's someone we want to keep? Who is something we don't want to keep? What do we want from the players that we get next? I think to make this work, really, LeBron James obviously has got to be healthy. That's why they're shutting him down for these last 6 games of the season. Makes sense. I think it makes sense. You know, let's say LeBron James is 100% healthy, or let's say he's 85% healthy or not, or wherever it is, whether he's healthy or not, 6 games, do you really think that's going to matter? I mean, there's nothing you could do. You can't improve your record where you make the playoffs. Yeah, maybe you could get those 6 wins and the record could look better, but honestly, you just kind of unfortunately see this season as a learning lesson. You move on, you figure stuff out. Maybe, but one of the things I think they really have to figure out in the offseason is they got to get someone else. Whether I think, yeah, everyone's saying Anthony Davis, get Anthony Davis. That's great. And I think that it could work really well because I think having someone of Anthony Davis' stature, position, the way he plays, and LeBron James, who's not a selfish kind of guy, who does, believe in assists and the way he does things. But someone I think that it would be kind of interesting to bring back, well, not even back, but I mean bring back together with LeBron, would be Kyrie Irving. Say what you want about Kyrie Irving, has not worked out in Boston, and it's really looked bad in Boston. That basically you look, the team is better without you, especially after the season they had before, making it how deep they did into the playoffs, and now the wins they get when he's not there, when they're losing the things that he's saying in the with the media, and it sounds like he just doesn't know how to be a leader. And the things he said earlier in the season about he was wrong to treat LeBron James the way he did because didn't realize how hard it was going to be. But I know it seems like he's more trouble than he's worth. But maybe going back with LeBron James, knowing his role more, knowing LeBron James will do more of those things, appreciate LeBron James more, maybe that could have success. And he's a point guard. Lakers, yeah, they have Lonzo Ball, but you have someone proven, Kyrie Irving, who's still relatively young, and if he's healthy, I think it's just a different situation. I think he could probably be better. He probably would be better. So all these different things, the way that goes, I think that's very interesting. I think that's something. I mean, I think I would go that route. I get it why Anthony Davis makes sense. Other players, who knows? Can you do Kevin Durant? Maybe all the stuff that Kevin Durant said was just smokescreen stuff for things at the moment he's upset about. But regardless of any of that stuff, I think the Lakers are going to have a real issue. And you can't, the two teams, and it's kind of funny because one team for a long time, the Lakers, have been a franchise that you look to say, this is how you do it. This is the franchise you want to model your stuff after and be successful. And the Lakers haven't been that in a long time. And the other team that would worry about this offseason, what to do, is the opposite team, a team that can't seem like they don't know how to get out of their own way, the Knicks. The Knicks and the Lakers this offseason is pivotal, huge for them to figure what they're going to get, the players that they're going to get. Because, yeah, the Lakers will still be in like some kind of mediocrity or just mediocre, weird thing going on if they don't get the players that they thought they can get. But for the Knicks especially, this is really big. You don't get the players you don't get, then that means you got to get lower level guys at exorbitant prices because that's what the money you have, and you can't predict who you're going to get next, who's going to be in the free agency. I'm sure, yeah, but do you really think that you're going to get them? So this is it for the Knicks. And it's weird that the Lakers are in that similar kind of position, but they are. Because if you don't get someone, this whole thing with LeBron James, unless these guys, the younger guys, get way better and LeBron James changes some things up, it's just going to happen again, most likely. I don't think you trade LeBron James now. You don't. But if this happens again next season, maybe you figure out something. Send them back to Cleveland or somewhere where maybe it's more ready-made. I don't know, but the Lakers have some interesting things, and the Knicks. And now I know I talked a little about the Knicks. So let's go over to them. The Knicks, what can you say about the Knicks? Unfortunately, they keep losing. They did win recently, but the losses are piling up. And he has to get Zion Williams, and I think that's a good way to go. But just because you win, just because you get the most losses, doesn't mean you win that lottery pick automatically. Because now it's 14% each. 3 teams get 14% chance, and you never know how that's gonna go. So it's just interesting. What is, obviously fans, true Knicks fans, how are they going to react to this? What are they going to do? I'm sure they would be excited if you get the number 1 draft pick, because then that means you're guaranteed the number 1 pick. You're guaranteed you can at least, unless the mess up. I don't know. I mean, the Knicks mess up. I don't understand how they would not get get Zion Williams, because I think honestly, that's the guy to go. He seems like someone who's an impact guy who has, his height is not huge, but he's impactful. He's got speed. Dunks are pretty good. He's gonna get. I think he'll be a better shooter. He's a different kind of position. So I think it's really interesting what the Knicks are going to do. Then it's one of the things also, another thing to add to this, the Knicks really have to step up their game this offseason because the team that's in their city in Brooklyn, the Nets are doing really good. And this Nets team, I think the nucleus that they have, this could be something replicated for years to come. They're looking like this could be the beginning of a 5-year run for them. It looks like they're going to extend their head coach, which I think is a smart move because he seems like a smart guy. He seems like his players appreciate him. He knows what he's doing. The Nets, I think, is something that Knicks should worry about. Yeah, the Knicks are always gonna have loyal fans, and yeah, Madison Square Garden's Madison Square Garden. That's gonna be sold out all the time. But when it comes to playoff, branding and or even New York bragging rights, sometimes how is that gonna work out? You really don't want that to get taken away from you. And I think the Nets can really do this. They're getting players healthy. They're getting wins. They're gonna make the playoffs most likely. Who knows what happens in the playoffs? Because unlike other sports where, yeah, the NBA does get consistently the same kind of guys, but other than Golden State Warriors and maybe LeBron James's team, usually everything else you have a good chance of having upsets here or there. You know, Obviously, I think that's something they got to watch out for the Nets, and I think Knicks fans, you got to be like weary of that, but excited about the pick, all those different things. Other NBA stuff, obviously, just getting ready for the playoffs. How's that gonna go? You know, Obviously, Golden State Warriors. You want them to win because that's unfortunate. Another win for them. What's gonna happen with that? But you don't know. There's still things going on. This game's still happening. Postseason's gonna be here for basketball sooner, later. March Madness is gonna wrap up soon. Not even March anymore, April Madness, I guess, because it extends to April. With the Final Four and then the last two teams, how's that going to be? And if you go into that route, with Calipari being the head coach in Kentucky for a lifetime deal, it's very interesting how that is. And I think in some respects, yeah, people are going to say the NCAA is corrupt, which it is, and that players aren't getting paid, but in the system, that's probably not going to change. Does Calipari deserve this? I don't know exactly the amount it would be, and if it's probably going to be an extraordinary amount to a degree. He does deserve this. He's been there multiple times in this kind of dance, and records he's had, and how much wins he's had, the kind of coach he is. It's an interesting kind of guy, but I think he did whatever contract it is. I think the dollar amount probably is accurate and appropriate in some ways. So yeah, when I come back, I'll be talking about actually not NFL, but an affiliate of the NFL, sort of, or a different football team, the AAF. All right, I'll be back.